Dreamers can't be tamed.
Welcome to the Dreamer's Journey. My name is Moses Santos, and this is the podcast for chasing your dreams. Here we talk about what it takes to be able to build the mindset to live the life that you desire. I'm an entrepreneur, coach, and teacher, and I thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Today, I want to talk about a little bit more about ego. If you listened to my episode last week, I discussed what ego was and how it affected me personally in my life and why it's important for us to understand ego on a deeper level. Today, I want to talk about how ego plays a role in our relationships and the concept of adaptability versus compatibility. So even in my intimate relationships and in my friendships and in my family, with my family, I've understood or I've heard that people believe that compatibility is something that exists. And I believe it's a limitation for human beings in general. We are placed into this box of a personality that we identify as this is who we are, and I'm the type of person that does this, and I have these hobbies, and this is what I'm interested in. And I think it's very limiting. It's not wrong, but it's a very limiting belief, a very limiting idea to believe that you aren't able to adapt to other concepts, other things that exist, other people, other interests that exist on this planet. And I want to give some context behind that, a little bit of psychology that goes behind that, and why I believe adaptability over compatibility, understanding that you are a human being that's super versatile, is so important to really build the relationships you desire. So, over the years, I've had many relationships where, especially intimate ones, where they failed, and a lot of the things that I've heard we're just not compatible. We're just interested in different things. We think differently, and I always go back to that, and I'm like, well, fucking duh. Right? We're two different human beings. Like, we're not gonna think the same. We're not going to be interested in the same exact things all the time. We're not gonna desire the same things all the time. And that's okay. Like, we're two different human beings. So I started to go deeper into this, and I'm like, well, why do people believe that they're not compatible? Well, it boils down to ego. The only reason we don't believe we're compatible is because one person believes that they have a personality that is not matched to another individual. Well, let's look at what a personality is. A personality is a combination of your reality and the stories and the experiences that you have acquired and downloaded into your brain over X amount of years. So, if you're a bunch of stories and experiences that have been accumulated over an X amount of years, and those stories and experiences are what you believe create the person that you are, then you believe that those experiences and those stories are the only thing that exist. But if they happened in the past, does that mean that those stories still have an attachment to you and project what your future is going to be? And to me, that's a very limiting belief. The idea that we've experienced certain things and we think this way because this is what we know, and because of that, we're not able to build a relationship, whether a friendship, a family member, whatever the case may be. We're not able to build this connection. It's your ego getting in the way. And your ego is just a combination of your stories and your experience from one perspective. Because, if you talk to Rantis or myself, you all know that we believe that in every single story, there are multiple perspectives, multiple possibilities and outcomes that exist in that story that you hold in your mind. Not only that, but research has shown that we never remember a story or a memory exactly the way that it happened. In fact, it's almost, I believe it's like 60% false. when recalled in that memory. I believe you can look it up. They did an experiment on people who were recalling 9/11, the memory of 9/11, and they asked for the details and all these things, while these adults were children in schools, and they asked them to recall the memory of 9/11, and they had specific details in which they remember that day, and when they would go back into actually the person's actual day, when they found out more of the stories, it did not exist the way that they remembered. So it's actually a pretty interesting research that they did, but it just exemplifies that the stories that we hold in our head aren't necessarily real. We just remember it the way that we want to remember it, so that we have a better chance of survival in the present moment. So going back to the idea of compatibility, that's what compatibility is. It's the belief that you are a certain way because of the experiences that you've accumulated, and because of those experiences that you've accumulated, therefore you're not compatible with someone else. Well, I want to argue the idea of adaptability, and this comes, in any environment. The idea that, even with intimate relationships, I think it's very important that both partners are willing to be adaptable. And this doesn't mean sacrifice. Sacrifice is something else. Sacrifice is saying, hey, this is the way I am, but I'm going to disregard this piece of myself so that this relationship can work. That's never good. I don't believe that's good, right? There has to be intrinsic work within yourself that says, you know what, that this belief, this part of who I am may not necessarily be real. It may not be true. And why am I holding on to this? Why am I holding to this aspect of who I am as an individual? Is it my ego? Is it that I don't want to lose this identity? And those hard questions of whether you want to be a certain type of way, whether you want to have this personality trait, are difficult questions, because here at Vita Project, we call it an ego death. When we start to admit that our story may possibly be bullshit, then that kills everything that we are as a human being, everything that we know. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And it plays a role in our relationships, and it takes a toll on who we are as an individual. I don't even know if this is making sense, but it's something that's been playing in my head. So I really believe that adaptability is something that we need to strive for. And, here, even as, an entrepreneur, a leader at Vita Project, man, there are some days, bro, where my ego is fucking dying. It's literally a clash in my head of two different dialogues. Like, you ever seen the angel and the devil on someone's head? That's literally what happens to me. It's like, fuck all these people, right? And then the other side is like, no, it's your ego, and it's hard. There's a lot of gray area there, but I believe that's what consciousness is. It's that struggle. It's that discomfort of understanding your ego. And when we start to strive to become adaptable versus compatible, I think we get rid of the idea of tribalism in this planet. And I think we strive to, another form, another dimension, another form of expression, which is love. And that's a whole nother topic that I feel that needs to be conversed, because even that, I think, has a misconception of love, like it's a feeling. I believe it's something that exists. I believe it's something that is done. It's an action. It's a state of being. It's not an emotion. At least to me, it's not an emotion. And I think it's very important that in order to really feel love, in order to love everything, in order to love every living thing that exists, you must understand how to be adaptable. And you must understand at the root of it that you are essentially the same thing. You are that spider that you decided to kill. You are that, that squirrel that is, going through your garbage can looking for food. You are that person, that human being that, struggles with depression every single day. You are that child that cries when they're hungry. And when you start to understand that your stories make your personality, and your personality is only your current reality, you begin to kind of pick apart these stories and decide which one serves you, which one is going to allow you to live the life that you really desire. And for me, it's still a very, very much a work in progress. But I know that it's moving my life forward. I know that I'm going in the right direction. And yeah, I think that adaptability is where you thrive, and where you can literally love everything. So this is episode 2 of the Dreamer's Journey, and I'm not sure if this one made a lot of sense. I'm gonna put it out anyway, even though this is the second take. But guys, I really thank you. Please give me feedback on what you think about these episodes. I'm trying to make it a little bit more raw, a little more authentic, in just giving my thoughts, just giving out what is going through my mind. And I'm trying to put one out every single week. So please give me your feedback, drop a comment on the podcast. You can send an email. You can comment on my Instagram, Moses, MOISES _ moves a lot. That's on Instagram, same thing on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2 of the Dreamer's Journey podcast. Peace.